Okay, so I'll call us to order at 7:06 p.m. This is capital planning. And we are pretty much just our agenda is pretty much just to review more of our capital requests. And yay, Chief Clark has come to talk to us about his. So it's all on you, Chief Clark.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Hi, John. TA, good to see you again. I know we passed in the hall a lot during the day. There's two things this year that, I'm sorry, what?
I'm going to share this. I'm going to share the screen with your narrative.
Okay, that's what I'm working off of right here. So, there's would I be able to see that too, or just John and Anna?
Oh, everyone can see it, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think.
And Eloise is there too, I see. Okay, hi, Eloise.
Greetings.
Ready to go?
Yep.
Okay. There's two items this year. One's a replacement of my current vehicle, which is a 16 Ford Expedition with it's got 103,800 and something miles on it. And it's starting to get a little tired mechanically. We had a working fire a couple of Mondays ago on Gates Pond Road, and I walked over to it in the middle of the fire, and it was dead for a week. They had to go to the garage and be fixed. So it's like, it ended up to be a fuel supply issue to it. They had to do some work on it, but it was a week, and it was a $1,300 price tag associated with it. So it's like, and I had to use my personal Jeep. I made it into a command Jeep to bring all my stuff around and carry my gear and all the stuff related to me doing my job. So it's like, but I went off the state biz list, the Greater Boston Police Council, and I'm kind of like a GMC Chevy guy. So the car size fits me really well, and it also fits the function that we do when we run a fire out of the back of the car. On some of the things that I sent into you, one of the items was a command console. And I almost choked when I saw how much they've gone up since the last time I bought a car. So it's like, we have some really good wood people here that I can remove that, and they're going to help me make that here in the building while they're on duty. So we're going to save a little bit of money that way. But going with the Chevrolet command vehicle, and it's off the Mass State bid list. It's kind of like a really stripped down basic the Tahoe model. Is there any questions that you have on that? And it's the same vehicles I'm running now, except just a Chevy rather than a Ford. So it's like the same size, no difference.
Chief, the only questions I have, and I've asked you about these already, is regarding our green community status and the need for fuel efficiency, because we've been scolded by our Department of Energy Resources rep that one thing that's really bogging us down is the fuel usage, not so much the buildings themselves, but the fuel usage for vehicles. And, I get, we need to have emergency vehicles and they need to be effective. But I'm wondering, are there any Tahoes that come in hybrid models at this point?
No, I talked with the person, his name is Kevin Nugent at the Chevy place.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have any coming in, or none have been requested to be, and he said they're not even available, but I'm not sure if that's true or not, because I haven't searched out into, like, I think they might have one coming out next year, but you never buy the first one that comes out. So it's
Right.
like, he has none available through the state bid list that he goes off of. And I asked about that. I looked at the smaller vehicles, which is like the Explorer, similar to what the police got, but it's kind of a small model to do what we need to do, the command and control function on operations out in the street. Can't get a lot in the way back because there's not much room. And it's like, I ran one of those for years and was like, kind of like sitting inside a can. So it's like my size. So yep, they're available at that level, and that's the decision that they make. Is like won't be as functional operationally, but it will be. Yeah, I guess we have to make it work if we have to go there. So it's like I was just looking at a comparable vehicle to what they've already purchased and is utilized now. That's been a successful on the street on operations. Get you to point A and B quickly. Does the command console. And I kind of use that as it's like my mobile desk. All my stuff that I use to run a fire is in the way back on the middle seat. I have my turnout gear, my air pack, and some more. this time of the year, I keep some sweatshirts and warm jackets. And the way back is my accountability boards and all the literature I need to like be successful at incidents on the street or out on the highway, especially like the hazmat books and things like that. So it's like, that's the same size vehicle I've been using since 2007. So it's like just, it's a normal fit for me, but I have to go with what your groups want to do here. So it's like,
Steve, does the Expedition come in hybrid, which is a bigger?
I'm not sure. I can
Okay.
check on that and get back to you in the committee here, but it's like,
Okay,
you know,
all right.
like
I was
said-
just, you know,
No,
everyone's
I
been-
understand where you completely.
yeah,
I've had that, just had that same size since, like I said,
Mhm.
2007. And it's like, it's been successful operationally for a long time. So it's like, it's just something I'm used to, but I can check on the, I really didn't go to Fords much, you know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
being a Ford guy, but I can, I will certainly do due diligence to investigate that for your committee and get back. I'll go through the TA to give it back out to the CIC. So it's like, that's kind of like where we are with
thanks,
that.
Chief. Your safety and what you know, what you are able to drive in is also important. So,
Yeah. And the only other concept that's a little different with this one, I've had a lot of dialogue with the police chief. Communications is critical. And the radio in our geographic location requires us to have not one radio, but three. All of our surrounding immediate mutual aid partners that are coming in, either we run into them on 495, or they're coming in initial on the very first alarm that we send out. They're sending help is Marlboro, which is 800. We're UHF, and then Northborough is what they call VHF. It's three different, completely different radio bands. Right now, I have three radios in my car, and I got to make sure I grab the right microphone. They're marked good. It's not a problem. But the new communications is they have some radios, and we just put one in the new tender that came in, and it's been very successful. Is that those three bands are in one radio, but you still pay for three radios. So it's like to go. There's no like big break. And the chief and I had some, and I don't want to talk for the police chief, but we've had some really positive conversations about establishing like a communications account so that we can buy these out of that rather than attaching them directly to the car, because it's a required thing. The communications and interoperability is just crucial during emergency operations for both the red team and the blue team. But it just drives the cost of the car so high, and it's like, it's another, let me look here. It's $8,621 just for communications for the three radios. So it's like, makes it, oh, you're getting a really expensive car, and it's not wasting money or spending money, however you want to look at it. But the communications are critical. At that fire at Gates Pond a couple of Mondays ago, I used all three of those radios at the same time, just going from one to the other during the fire. So Margaret got to see the kind of get a good look at that early into that. She came down and visited, and it's like saw all the operations there, and that was the culmination of those three frequencies being used, where you can have one microphone and just turn the channel. So it's like, but that's like, we've had that conversation, and if you need the chief and I to come before your group to kind of like bring you more information, if you had any questions where I could get some additional information and bring to you, whatever you needed to like be comfortable with that would be great. And it's like, it's just where we are. Where I came from for years, we had one radio. That's all we needed. All our frequencies were in the neighbors with us on the same band. But this one here, we have three. We do a lot of work with Marlboro at the mall, and we go up onto their frequency there for operations. So it's like, it's just critical. So communications is, and I look at it, they do, for every firefighter fatality there is out there, they do some reports on it, and something usually tied to every single one of them is some kind of a breakdown in communications. So I've always tried to be really strong with that and not have that happen. You still don't have control over everything that happens like that, but try to take that away from that list. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So Chief, this is the Motorola Solutions estimate that you provided. Okay.
Yep.
Just wanted to be clear on that.
Yep. Thank you.
Mhm.
So you got that. So it's like, that's kind of like where we are. Are there any questions on that vehicle?
So I have a question on radios now that
Yeah.
you've gone through all that. And it might be a question for Margaret. Wasn't it last year we approved money we already had for upgrading the radio system in town? Whatever happened with that?
I think that was the video camera system. That was in the
Hmm.
cells. It wasn't?
Wasn't it $300,000 to $312,000 for police radios? There was a
Oh,
grant or something.
Yeah, okay, so that
gift?
was a donation from NRP, the Rockwood Apartments, and that has not been spent yet. So the project hasn't rolled out yet on that. We are still holding on to that money,
Okay.
and that's for a radio tower.
And that wouldn't necessarily change the 3 radio aspect thing that we have in town.
That would have just enhanced, to be honest with you, the UHF that we have is poor. We have areas in town where you can't even talk on the radio, on the portable. I'll be on the side of the street and have to go over to and use the car. The car one is more powerful than the portable. And safety wise, we should be able to talk from anywhere in town with, I'm not saying 100%, but you should be in the 98 to 99. Pick up your portable microphone, and if someone needs help, they can call and get out. And it's just, the system is antiquated. And I know that Chief Galvin put a plan together, and that's moving forward. And we're trying to use some federal grants to assist that. Yeah, that's big. That's like repeaters and interconnecting them. They try to do again, I'm not a radio guy like that at that level, but they connect them somehow. And now we use hard wire. They don't want to use that anymore. Like the RTNA lines that Verizon provides and you pay for them every year. That's the way it's always been done, but there's better ways to do it, but it's also expensive. So it's but the communications is critical. If the guys are at a medical on the highway and they need more help or something happens, they got to be able to get help instantly.
Yeah.
So it's that's kind of like where we are. We work with it, and it's but there's often breakdowns in it that we have to overcome. But there's a plan that's moving on.
What are you gonna do with the old equipment?
Well, what I'd like to do is keep it in-house, because we get the new, you were very, very helpful in us getting a new pickup truck last year, which should be in within, again, it keeps seeing delays, and I got the word last week, it'll be 2 more weeks. So next week or the week after, we should be seeing that. Then it gets the radios installed and the lights put on it and stuff like that. But there's just been delay after delay on that because I guess chips or something that's like that. They're coming from someplace and they don't have them all, but that's moving. And it's like for instance, last week when I had my car go down for a week, we didn't have a backup vehicle. So I had to go home. Chief gave me a ride home, and I got my Jeep and I put all my stuff in the back of the Jeep and used my Jeep for the week. So it's that wasn't a big deal, but it's we don't have any redundancy or to do stuff right now. So I would give my existing car to fire prevention, and then we would have some redundancy with that and the pickup between the 3 of them. And
What is fire prevention currently driving?
that's the fire marshal. His car's out of service and he's using the bus truck. It was so bad. We sent it for repairs, and the repair bill was so high that the gentleman, I'm not ashamed to say this, but it was local and it was at Rude's Garage. And I asked him 2 questions. What would you do if this was your vehicle? And what would you do? What would you tell me if you're a taxpayer? What do you think of this? He says, Chief, I would take it out of service in a second. It was just like the drivetrain, exhaust, front wheel bearings, steering, needed all new tires. And we had invested some money in it late last year to just keep it roadworthy. And it's parked out in the lot now, and it's going to go to junk. It's it was an old police cruiser, and I think it has hammered 14 to 15,000 miles on it, whatever they put on it. You know what I mean? So it's got a lot of miles, but that's hard miles. So it's they used it, and it's we'd go and jumpstart it. He'd be out in the street someplace and jumpstart it for him and bring it back. So it's that's where we are. We took it out of service. He said, "Nope, Chief, I wouldn't even recommend you to fix it. It's not worth it." It's like putting lipstick on a pig, So.
Chief, do you want to you want to seek disposition approval for that vehicle?
If that's,
Sooner
if-
rather
well,
than
that's why I
later?
put it on there. I don't know how that works through you as the chief procurement or through the CIC, but I would
Mhm.
like to like keep that as some redundancy, and the mileage and the hours will be a lot less on it. It just being in town, so. I
Oh, the
still
old,
think-
you mean the old junk that's not roadworthy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the expedition if I get it replaced.
Oh,
Yeah, the
no, no,
old
no,
junk, yeah.
the one that's out in the lot that's off the
There's
road
two that we
now.
have to work on, the old engine two and that one. So it's like,
Okay,
there's two that I gotta spend some time with you soon to see
Okay.
what we're gonna do with it.
What's old engine two?
That's the one that when they bought the new tender, they replaced the old tender, which was out of federal procurement, like a surplus properties, and
Mhm.
the PS engine that they bought in the early 90s. And it's still sitting here. And it's like and so they made the tanker operationally do both those functions. So we'd have less vehicles. Both were old. So it just gets, it needs to be, put a price tag on it and go to municipal bid. So it's like, we had really good luck with that. With the old car too, they gave us, again, it was the floorboards, like you could lift up the pads and you could see out. It's like Fred Flintstone. And a
Mhm.
gentleman from Long Island come up and gave us like $6,500 or $6,600 for it.
Hmm.
And it was like, and then he drove it back to Long Island. So I'm like, you're a brave person. So it's like, so it's like, it is what it is. So, but no, we got to move those two vehicles soon because the truck's coming. And that's one of the things as the chief procurement, I got it on my list for next week to see him.
okay,
And I just got to get a price tag associated with it. I don't know.
good. Oh, it's nice getting rid of old things.
Yep.
Mhm.
This is
Yep.
December declutter.
Oh, that one's actually got a lot of, there's a lot of strings attached to that one to the old timers here. That's been a really solid old piece of truck like that. So got to kind of be careful how you do it and what you say about it. So it's like, it's just old and they got, they did a lot of stuff with it that when you go to move them, and it's happened to me, it brings back lots of memories of things that you did with it, so you do have a bond with your equipment, some more than others, but any questions on the car?
Not
And
for
the-
me. Anyone
And the
else?
other, John,
Oh, I think I'm all set now.
Eloise, can I answer any questions you may have?
No, my big question was the energy efficiency, but Margaret already asked that. Thank you.
Thank you. I will check it out. I'll get back to you. I'll look at the Fords and it's like, I have to go back to Ford, I go back to Ford. It really, not that big of a deal. But if they
So
got
Chief,
something
I just want to ask again, on the communication system, is that included in this 53,936?
No, that's like, that's the thing that we talked about with the chief to set up a different, like attempt to set up a communications. If you didn't want to set up a communications line or
I see.
expense line or whatever you want to call it, whatever the senior finance team decides to call it, then that would have to be included in the 53,936. See,
And
this just
is that-
drives the price so up so high with the needed stuff that it's like,
Chief,
it's
would this
troubling.
Motorola quote be for both chiefs' vehicles? Or is it just for your
No,
vehicle?
that's for one tri-band radio. You're taking three
Oh.
radios and combining them in one. And there's a little bit of savings, but not much. Usually radios are like 2 to 3 a piece. So it's like, it's right there,
Okay, all right, thank you.
And then if there's no more questions on that, option, number 2 there is some new equipment that they don't have here. And we spend a lot of time on the highway and out there with car crashes and in town. And one of the things that we don't have is an airbag system. I was weaned on them in 1973 and carried them on my rescue for the whole time that I was where I worked. And you had them when you need them, Mass Pike at 495. And this little piece of 495 that we got is very similar to that, just not as big an area. And what they do is they lift, they pry, you use them with cribbing. There was a very high profile rescue call with a well-known person in town earlier this year that would have been the perfect application for it, between this and another piece of equipment, and we didn't have it. So it's like, I'm used to having them in my back pocket so that you don't use them in every crash, but when they're there, you have someone underneath the car or something cribbing, and this comes out, and the car's up in the air. It has controls which are called dead men. You can do 2 bags at the same time. As soon as you take your fingers off it, they stop moving. Got color-coded hoses going to the bags. Give me a little air on the green, give me a little air on the blue, delete the blue, whatever you need. So it's like, it runs off the air supply, the same type of tanks that we wear on our back, has a little regulator that attaches to that, and it runs off those. So we have those, probably 5 or 6 or 8 of those on every truck. So it's like, that's good. And it's just used, it's a really handy rescue tool that since I've been here, we've probably had at least 5 to 8 applications where it would have been paramount to use them and we didn't have them. So it's like, I've watched it. And it's just time to try to get this resource on the truck so that we have it when we need it. And all they are is simply really like a vulcanized type rubber, and they're different size things. They got a little valve on them. You stick another valve with a pressure relief valve. You can blow it up. If you have a leak in a tank, you can put a strap around it, use that, put pressure to it, it stops a leak. Only as good as the people using them. There's 100 different things you can do with them. And they come everywhere from, some of them you can put in, blow out windshields on a car in a second, throw them on the dash, take a windshield out without making a lot of mess, breaking the glass. There's just a lot of applications for them. And it's like one of those things that you shouldn't want for, and it's like, we just don't have it yet. So it's like,
What kind of life does it have?
I had some that were over 20 years old where I came from. They go 20 plus years, unless you had damaged them somehow, obviously, but the controls and everything, they lasted, we had the same ones over 20 years. So once you get them, you have them for a long time. But, and there's other good thing is that you have to train on them, and training's awesome. And it's like, with these with cribbing, and it's like, I got an instructor all lined up. If we get it, he's gonna come up and teach them for free. So it's like, he's at Ajax, one of the top 3 technical rescue guys in the state. He's already promised if we get those to come and teach us for free. So it's like, that's where we are with those. But I can, if you need some pictures of it, something might be hard to, my description might not be really clear. You can get some pictures of that and send them in. It's like, if that helps you. That's what I got. If you got any questions on them, fire away. And it's like, thanks for taking your time to listen to me. Yeah. So it's like, this is not my favorite thing to do. I'd rather be working out in the street than talking. So it's like, but it is what it is. I gotta see you guys to move stuff forward. So.
Well, we definitely appreciate you coming and explaining all these things to us, because at least for me, certainly it's not something I see any day or every day or ever. So it's always great to understand not only what the needs are, but what how things work.
Yeah.
As well.
Yep. No, it's like, it's kind of interesting. And this is one of those things that we'll work together. We have some good horse tools. These are the things that you kind of like, sometimes you multitask and get 2 or 3 of these tools going at the same time on, especially if you do a trailer truck, which you seem to have a lot of trailer trucks on the highway here. So it's like, it's interesting. So it's like, that's the good stuff that we do.
Did you have to help with getting the tractor trailer out of Crosby and South Street yesterday?
No, ma'am. That's kind of like a blue team thing. And I try to stay in my lane when it comes to that stuff. We can get on there and take up space, but it's like, they needed me, they'd call. They know what resources we have here. So it's like, they told me about it. You're going to get out and watch. I said, no, seen that before. So it's like, and that's like, I think that's the second time within like right there within like 3 or 4 months.
Yes.
And I came across the other one and I just turned around and went the other way when the guy was stuck. I said, yep, good luck, chief. See you later. So it's like, didn't need any help.
Call
so
the
I
big
like,
tow truck.
Yep, call Ted's.
So and I just have one more
Go
question.
for
Chief.
it.
So I think it would be wonderful to see a picture of what this airbag system looks like, because it's really hard to envision.
I got the books right on my shelf. I can make a
Oh, you
copy of it in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can email, I could
You
email
can
it
hold
out.
it up to the thing if you want.
Is
Like,
it, so it's something that you store inside one of the trucks, right? And you
they're
kind of
actually
deploy it.
flat. They're probably like maybe this thick. Okay, and they go from a size from this big up to that you can put it on a windshield. And one of the applications for the rectangular one is a windshield. You put it in right as the windshield meets the dashboard on the lower side. When you
Yeah.
inflate it, kind of kicks the whole windshield out without like splintering all the glass everywhere. And it's
Oh,
like
wow.
they do lift. Sometimes I've used them like negatively 3 or 4 times when people will be working in their car and the jacks slip, you know what I mean? And you get a couple of cribbing, you get that on it, and it's like, and it's moved up enough where you can retrieve someone from underneath one of those. And on the highway, when the people get thrown out and on top, the cars on top of them and stuff, you just kind of get those in there and
Yeah.
get them out. Or there's a lot of different applications, you know what I mean? So it's like, and it's one of those tools that's only as good as the people using it. If you think and get some experience with them, you can do a lot of really cool things. So it's like,
That sounds
we've
like a
done-
useful, a piece
we've
of
done
equipment.
tank trucks with leaks on the side with a strap around the top. So it's like, and just put a little bit of pressure on the bag, stops the leak. And then when we can do it, they buy us a new bag because of the 21E. You can recoup funds like that on a hazmat spill. So it's like, nope, you want to wait a second? I can see the book from where I am. I can show you what they look like. 1 second.
Give me one. While Chief's getting that book, since he was talking about surplus equipment, the board is going to vote on Monday to declare the old street sweeper and the 2002 loader surplus. So we'll be able to list those and get those out of here.
Great. That sounds wonderful.
Mhm.
Now, did he say the old car that
This
he
is
has
what they look
now?
like. I'm not
To
sure
be
what you're gonna
traded
do
in?
to see them. Cause I got a screen on one computer and I look at the other one. But there's like the different size bags. And what these do, they have a little,
I'm going to stop sharing the screen. We'll be able to see it better, I think.
that's just
Okay.
kind of like an idea of the different size ones. This one here is the one that you would throw in the windshield, but we got a small kit. We got like the Mr. T starter kit. So it's like, that to get started with it and then get it acceptable. Then if we need to branch out later, we can do some more out of the budget. But it's like, and it's got controls and
So that $15,000 is a starter kit?
yeah, they go like, you can go, it's unbelievable what you can go to if you want. This is kind of like, I think there's 5 to 7 bags, a dead man, which is a control, a feeder line that goes back to a regulator, which attaches to the SCBA tank. And I think there's 5 feeder hoses. And each of those bags, you put on a little valve on it, and it's one a relief valve. And it's also got an off button that you can fill it and shut it off, and then take the hose off and go to another one. So it's like, you can, they're really adaptable, small, fit in tight spots. And it's like, they're only, like I said, maybe that wide when they're deflated, and then they go out. Some of them will give you 2 feet, depending on the size. You use cribbing, which is wood, you know what I mean? We got a bunch of wood that has holes drilled in it and rope through it. You can grab 6 or 8 of them at a time, carry them up the street to the accident. So that's what we're looking at.
Okay.
Do a lot of different things. So that's
Any
all I
other
got.
Any other questions, guys? John, Eloise?
I'm okay.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. It's kind of boring stuff if you never used them, you know what I mean? I apologize, but it's like, when you get them out to training and on a street, they're just like, people like, I like it because you get the big eyes looking, the mouth open look when you go to work with them and move something like this. Oh, how are they gonna move that? And it just does it, you know, so.
I have always wanted to lift a car off of a person. So I think those bags sound amazing.
I think that you need to come to our next vehicle extrication drill.
Oh, I'd love
We
to.
practice that out in the back lot. We put the mannequin underneath it.
I was gonna say, who do you volunteer to put under the car?
No, we have a mannequin. And it's like, and we actually raise it with some things that we do now. We don't have those, but we got some things that are vehicle stabilized and they will do a certain amount of lifting. So we
Mhm.
can get it up enough to, again, to get underneath it. That's what we use now with it, but they're not near as efficient as this and longer to set up. And this is just in and the guy grabs the bag and the toolbox and in a tank and away you go in business. Snap, snap. Yep.
Great.
Well, I'll remember that next time we do vehicle extrication.
Yeah. Yeah, call me.
Yeah,
please.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sounds
I'd
like
like
Give
a-
me
to
some
see it
safety
too.
glasses, a turnout jacket, and you can even try the tools, the Hirsch tool. So
Ooh,
it's
cool.
like- Yeah, they're really cool. But no,
Yeah.
it's like, that's all I got. Thank you very much for your time. And it's like, if it, I will certainly get back through the TA to your group about see what Ford has available. I don't know, because I didn't look. And it's like, other than I know what the police use in their Ford vehicles. But it's like, that's kind of like tight wise, size wise to fit in it and also to work out of the back. So that's like, but different
I'm not-
application.
I'm not looking at it at your application at the moment. What Chevy vehicle model was it?
Tahoe,
A Tahoe. Okay.
the basic one that they just give you off the, what do you call it? The bid list, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The rims are black, blah, 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 all that stuff. So it's
Oh,
like,
come on. You don't need fancy aluminum wheels or.
no, actually, my last one, I did do that out of my budget. And that's the only thing I upgraded. It's like, I brought them out of my budget because it was like, just looked too much like I hate that. I shouldn't say I hate it. I'm not comfortable with that, like that military look on a public safety vehicle. And I like the military stuff. I love it. I've had relatives who are Navy SEALs and they love that stuff, but it's like, I don't like it with the public because it's more, well, it's like, that's not what we're here for. We're here to be like bright and like, and I don't like that really darked out look really, you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
more too military for like community fire department stuff, you know what I mean? You need to be like, it's just me, you know, that's all. It's weird, but
Margaret?
yes,
Perhaps,
man,
perhaps
Muted.
that's something we can get from Kelly.
what's that?
Oh, that's a good suggestion, Eloise. So Kelly, Chief Kelly is our Department of Energy Resources rep. She works with all the towns in our region, so she might have some leads.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow on that.
Well, she's
I'm
the
not-
one that's always yelling at us.
That's right. She's the one who's yelling.
Yeah,
Not so much yelling, but scolding and warning maybe. Um,
Disgusting.
yeah. Chief, I'm not going to be in the office tomorrow, but
Okay.
on Monday I'll be there.
next week. Yeah,
Yeah.
next week then.
Okay.
I'm working on your budget, so I'm like, I wouldn't,
Mm.
yeah, I was in budget
That
mode
too.
today. Oh, I almost shut the door. So it's like, but no,
Yeah.
like just focused in today on that. You can see it, my desk is a huge mess.
Oh,
But thank you, Anna, John, Eloise, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for coming and telling us
Alright.
about how all your stuff you need.
All right, take care of yourself.
thank you, Chief.
You too.
See you, TA.
See you Monday. Bye-bye.
all right.
Okay.
Woo, just the four of us.
So just a couple of updates. That's really all I have. I think I emailed you today about the bridge replacement capital request being uploaded to your folder, and I gave you the link to the folder again, so you could see all of that and all the MassDOT backup. I hope that was in color, so you could see it. Fred hasn't gotten the proposal yet from the engineer. So as soon as that arrives, you will receive the proposal and we'll fill in the costs on the capital request form as well. And again, our intent is to fund the first portion of the design engineering from Chapter 90 if needed. But the engineering firm is going to help us with submission of a small bridge grant application. So that'd be like $500,000. So most of it would be funded through that, we hope. And then the other thing, I mentioned that the sweeper and loader will be declared surplus on Monday. So those will be going. And then the last thing I had a thought about the facilities assessment, because when we met last time, and I apologize, by the way, I didn't have my cord on my computer and my battery died. So that's why the meeting ended abruptly like it did. So on that facilities assessment, I thought, I think that we could get a team. If we could get a team of someone from the capital planning committee, someone from the finance committee, someone from the select board, Fred and myself, to do a tour of our buildings, check them out just to see what's in them and just get a look at the general condition, even if we're not experts. I think that would give us a good sense of where we might be able to start as far as the current use of buildings, potential reuse and disposition of these buildings. So I would like to, I guess I'd like to preliminarily request someone from capital planning to come along on this buildings tour that I'll arrange.
I'll volunteer.
Oh,
Done.
good.
Just let me know.
Okay. And while
Margaret?
oh, yes.
May I suggest that you add the planning board because they consider that part of their charge?
Oh, certainly. I'm just going to write down a list of the participants here. So the other building that we could include and should include is the elementary school, because we typically, well, before COVID, we did annual building walkthroughs of the elementary school. So while we're out looking at all the other town buildings, we could arrange to go through the Berlin Memorial School as well. So I'll try to arrange for that.
Didn't we just get a facilities report?
Mhm.
at the Elementary
did.
school?
We did. We didn't get to walk through the building like we normally do to look at classroom sizes and any other issues that are, the pellet boiler and things like that. So this would be an actual building walkthrough. Okay. And then planning. So that would be 6 of us if I can get us all together. All right, John. Well, if the committee is okay with John doing it, I'll loop you all
I make
in
a
as we-
motion that we appoint John. And
I second. Any discussion needed? Nope. All those in favor say aye.
I,
All right, John,
Woo! Good job.
you're on the list.
Oh, I'm sucked into something, huh?
I don't know
That's
how
okay.
quickly I'm going to be able to get everyone together and get this organized. And it will have to be
Okay.
on a day when we're not having some snow, so Fred can join us. It's going to be important for him to be there as well. So, all right, I will let you
Just
know.
let me know, yeah.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
That's all I have
Right.
really for today.
I had a question for you, Margaret.
Oh,
When I was looking at use of certified free cash guidelines,
yes.
what are you gonna do? What is your suggestion for the OPEB, other post-employment benefits trust?
So we haven't managed on the OPEB trust, that would be an OPEB trust fund. So we're not going to be able to put anything into an OPEB trust fund right now, which is other post-employment benefits, which would be health insurance for retirees. We can't put anything in that because we have not established it. So what the finance committee decided when they established these guidelines was that we could put the funding that's targeted for that particular bucket into general stabilization until such time as an OPEB trust fund is established. And then when the time comes, if the time comes that an OPEB trust fund is established, the money could then be transferred from stabilization over to the OPEB trust fund.
Yeah, but are we gonna ask the town to support that this coming May?
The OPEB health insurance, retiree health
Yeah.
insurance? I don't know. And I have to be perfectly honest, it's probably not going to come. It probably won't come from me. I have to, it's going to have, there's going to have to be a coalition, seriously, if that's going to move forward. So that's to be determined.
Well, I mean, when you said the finance committee said, well, we haven't got one,
Mhm.
would they lead the charge?
Who would lead the charge? Well,
Finance committee.
maybe. Maybe. It's one thing saying that we'll target money to an OPEB trust fund. It's another thing funding retiree health insurance. So that's something that we need to work on.
Yes, I know. It requires a ballot question. They tried to do it once, like 10, 12, 15 years ago.
It was 2000, when was it? 2002, right? 2002?
It was a long time ago, but I remembered.
Yep, you did, and you gave me the town meeting results for it too.
Yes,
It
I
was not a
did.
close, it was not a close vote.
No,
No?
No,
it's
It was
just
not a
that
close
Tom
vote.
Galvin, it was one of the reasons Tom Galvin left. So that's why, but sooner rather than later.
Yep. I hear you, Eloise. It's a
I know, but
delicate one.
Janet doesn't.
Janet who?
Our fifth member,
Oh, she's not here.
correct.
Actually, she's a public employee. She gets it.
She is in,
Public school, Maynard
Yeah.
Public Schools. Yeah, so
Maynard,
she's a
maybe.
beneficiary of that.
I'm in a position, but I acknowledge it.
Yes. All right, Eloise, we can talk further on that, but at the very least, if it's not ready for spring, what we do need to do is put away that money in general stabilization if we're not ready to establish the OPEB trust fund. We have to at least prepare.
Tomorrow morning, I am attending a CMRCP webinar on housing trusts.
Aha!
I think
Now
we're
that's
about
something we might
7 or
establish.
8 years late, but
That might be something we establish. That's around the corner.
both
All right.
things were on my mind. That's all I had.
So your next meeting is scheduled, what, 2 weeks from tonight?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. So for your next meeting, I will have I apologize, I didn't have it ready tonight. You know, the spreadsheet that we go through, I'll have that ready for your next meeting. So you could at least see the outline of, or the list of all the requests, and you could start working through them. And you have, let's see, who would you like to have? Let's see if we can get the rest of the requesters in for your next meeting.
Would our next meeting be December 16 or December 23?
So I just checked my town government and we're listed for the 16th at 7. Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
Okay. I will be out of town, so I will have to Zoom. But I'm happy to zoom away.
Okay, so the remaining requests are from
Police.
Police, Council on Aging. And by the way, Victoria, our Council on Aging Director, is going to be presenting to the Select Board on Monday night the reasons that she's submitted this this kind of request for an investigation or feasibility study. Planning Board and Conservation. So 4 more. I'll see if I can. I don't know if you need to meet with the Planning Board on $5,000.
That's just the maps, which they do every year.
Mhm.
Yeah, Conservation, you might wanna touch base with again on that lower property and remaining funding.
Right.
Okay.
My other question is, Margaret, when I go into the Google Drive, I don't see the highway, the South Street Bridge.
Oh, you're not seeing?
The stuff you said you just uploaded.
All right.
Can
let
you tell
see.
me, is it hiding somewhere that I'm not seeing it?
Oh. Okay, let me see. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen and see if I can open it up while you're. All right, so there's that. This is everything in the FY23 folder. And here's highway, and it's right in here. It's at the bottom of this right here. Capital request. So you're not seeing that when you get into FY23 highway?
Oh, no, I am.
Okay. All right,
The-
good.
Just the the two papers. I guess I was looking for something different.
The, just to show here's the backup. I just want to see if it, oh yes, this is the color, just to share this with folks, so they can see the condition of this bridge. No, Fred tried to, here is the whatever you call it, the underpinnings, the
That
joist.
actually should be on the town's web page.
Yeah, it's rough. In fact, the engineers, when they were meeting with us, said, you know, the bridge is, it's not, it doesn't need to be closed off. You know, there doesn't need to be an immediate detour. And one of the reasons is because when it was built with 12 of these joists underneath. So that it was almost like double redundancy. So that's pretty much what's holding it together. The fact that there were all these joists and they're not spread out anymore. But pretty impressive photos, I think.
Kind of scary.
I know.
Yeah.
It's ready to be worked on. So capital planning, you can go into your folder and see all these color photos. But yeah, Eloise, you're right. This should be something that's a show and tell. And in fact, when the capital planning committee goes to the select board with your recommendations in January, we'll be able to share the screen as you go through your recommendations. So we'd be able to show these at their meeting too.
Well, you just need to get the people aware
More.
that
Look at
this
this.
is coming,
Mm-hmm.
and this is why.
A 3/4 inch hole.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is it a bullet hole?
It's ready.
Only from
no,
somebody
it's-
duck hunting.
Yeah. So anyway, there are lots of photos. I'll see if I can get them up. But yeah, they're pretty impressive. So we'll see what they come back with a proposal. Hopefully before your next meeting, they'll come back with it.
Great.
Okay.
That'd be
All right.
good.
So I'll invite police, conservation, and council on aging to your next meeting. Is that okay?
Sounds like party. Anybody, any other thoughts or concerns that we need to bring up for today? Anybody? John, Eloise?
No, I'm good.
No, I think I'm fine.
Me too. Okay, I'm gonna call it then. I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn us today at 7:53 p.m.